We're kicking off with WWE, and for a long time, fans expected The Rock vs. Cody Rhodes to be one of the WrestleMania 41 main events, but judging by what happened on Raw, that is no longer the plan. The two showed respect to each other during the historic Raw debut on Netflix, and now a segment filmed between the two will never be aired. Fightful Select reports that the pair filmed something that was supposed to show that they'd squash their on-screen issues, but with what happened on Raw, it's no longer needed. The segment was not much different than what fans saw last week, and Fightful adds that they filmed an angle that potentially will never see the light of day. This segment was filmed at the Moana 2 premiere, which saw Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins also attend, though it's unclear if either was part of the angle filmed with The Rock and Rhodes. This match is apparently not going to be at WrestleMania 41, but given the changing nature of the industry, one can't count out this angle being used at some point down the line. Fans similarly can't count out The Rock vs. Cody Rhodes never happening, but Fightful Select reports that The Rock has turned babyface for the foreseeable future. The WWE Universe will now have to wait and see if what filmed at the Moana 2 premiere ever gets released, but for now, there's no current plan for the Rhodes and Rock to feud. As we've seen, the Los Angeles wildfires have devastated the state, resulting in people losing their homes and much more, with many people sadly losing their lives in the process. California is home to several names from wrestling, including WWE alum Melina, and on Twitter, the A Matter of Pride wrestling account shared that they'd been unable to reach her. The statement had fans and those in the wrestling industry fearing that Melina had been harmed in the fires, and the account asked that anyone with information come forward. Thankfully, in an update, the account shared that a contact had been made with Melina, who is safe, and the account thanked everyone for their concern, support, and outreach. It's great that Melina was found safe, but many sadly aren't so lucky, and Anthony Bowens was unable to attend the latest AEW Collision due to the dangerous conditions. The wrestling world's support for Melina highlights the camaraderie shared between fans and those in the business, as seen with the effort to make sure that the former WWE Diva was okay. The situation is just a reminder of how unpredictable and dangerous these situations can be, but the wrestling world has shown just how strong its support system is to locate Melina. On the latest AEW Collision, Chris Jericho defeated FTR's Dax Harwood, but Jericho's performance in the match left a lot to be desired for many fans. The January 11th match in Athens, Georgia sparked a backlash online, with fans questioning whether Jericho should hang up his boots, and the ROH World Champion even trended. Jericho was trending, but not for the reason AEW will have wanted, with one fan asking, "What did I just watch?" while another said, "This is embarrassing, Tony. What are we even doing here, man?" One fan said that they'd never forgive anyone from the Elite for convincing Jericho to wrestle into his 50s, clearly of the opinion that the 54-year-old should have retired years ago. Another mocked Jericho, who's defended poor performances in the past, saying that Jericho will come out and say, "I wrestle boring matches on purpose." Some described the match as a complete disaster, with one commenter calling it a clunky mess and said it was like the pair were wrestling in a treacle before things fell apart. Another suggested that it might be time to give up on this Colliders deal and make the Saturday shows good, while a different fan said that the NBA fan base may need to bully Jericho again. This is a reference to a past incident where Jericho was ridiculed during AEW programming when the show ran opposite NBA games. Jericho's legacy in the ring is undeniable, but matches like this continue to have fans questioning how much longer he can go in the ring and whether he should step aside. Some believe Jericho is only hurting his legacy the more he wrestles, while others believe he has something left in the tank, but either way, Jericho's in-ring future remains a hot topic. What do you think about Chris Jericho's latest match? Should he retire, or does he still have more to give? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Over to TNA Wrestling, as Jeff Hardy returned to the promotion as himself last year, but many fans still fondly remember his time as the unique character Willow in the early 2010s. The character was first created by Jeff long before he and Matt became pro wrestlers, and now the charismatic Enigma is taking steps to revive the character in TNA. Speaking to the Wrestle Spot, Jeff shared that he and his older daughter designed a new faceplate for the mask in hopes of resurrecting the character. He said, "I've been talking about that a lot, man. In Hillsborough, North Carolina, there's a new Willow mask. Me and my oldest daughter designed a new faceplate, and he got it and made the mask. I just haven't picked it up yet, but man, once I get there and try it on, if it feels good, I just can't wait to bust out a Willow promo on social media or something. I'm super excited about bringing Willow back to TNA, man. It'll be so much better than it was before." Hardy was unable to bring Willow to AEW, but it could be part of TNA programming once again, and if it does, it could certainly mark a major change for Hardy in the promotion. Jeff has big plans for his future in TNA wrestling, but the veteran also has plans for outside the promotion, including one major moment as part of WWE. In the same interview, Jeff admitted that he felt ashamed of the many wrong decisions he's made, but is looking to get past that and continue to stay on the path he's on. Jeff shared his positive outlook that anything is possible for him now, and that the perfect ending to my career would be to end up in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hardy was controversially released from WWE in late 2021 after he refused to enter rehab during a situation at a live event that led higher-ups to believe he was using substances. Jeff's drug test at that time would show that he wasn't on drugs at the live event, and Jeff wants to end his WWE career on a high note instead of a depressing low. Jeff is convinced that a future return to WWE, even if it's just for the Hall of Fame, is going to happen, and there's few teams more deserving of an induction than the Hardy Boys. At 47 years old, Jeff Hardy knows that the end of his in-ring career isn't too far behind, but the charismatic enigma wants to make the most of his time ahead of a potential Hall of Fame induction. Recently, it was confirmed that the 2026 Royal Rumble will take place in Riyadh, but this week, fans were given an update for WWE's plans for Saudi Arabia in 2025. According to Fightful Select sources, there's only been talk of one Saudi event taking place this year, breaking from the traditional two events that take place each year. Both 2020 and 2021 only saw one live event each year, though that was due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the 2025 show is reportedly targeted to be in June in Jeddah. If so, it'll be WWE's first June PLE in Saudi Arabia since 2019 Super Showdown, though details remain scarce as if this will be a Saudi-exclusive show or if it'll be a PLE previously seen in the US. WWE launched its partnership with Saudi Arabia in 2018, which has proven controversial and lucrative, and we'll have to see what kind of show we see this June in Jeddah. Over to AEW Collision now, as Jon Moxley made a surprise appearance on the latest show where he targeted the neck of Cope. Following Chris Jericho's win on Dax Harwood, Big Bill and Brian Keith launched a post-match attack which was cut short by Cope and Cash Wheeler. The Death Riders and the Outrunners then got involved in the chaos, and Moxley showed up to take out Cope and attempted to break the Hall of Famer's neck with a concerto. Given Cope's history of neck problems that led to his 2011 retirement, this move could have been disastrous for him, and thankfully Powerhouse Hobbs came out to make the save. Hobbs forced Moxley to retreat and slammed Wheeler Yuta through the announce table, and this all came ahead of Hobbs vs. Moxley for the AEW World title on this week's Dynamite. In addition to that, fans can expect to see Rated FTR and the Death Riders continue their feud as the two factions continue to battle for supremacy across AEW programming. But what did you think of the match and the post-match segment? Do you think Hobbs has been built up as a sufficient challenger to Moxley, or will the champ retain? Let us know down below. The latest Collision may have provided the biggest hint yet about Malakai Black's status with AEW, despite the Dutch wrestler not being seen on the show. During the second half of the broadcast, Cope told Brody King to take the reins and run, suggesting it was time for King to forge his own path in AEW. This interaction seemed to hint that Black won't be returning to AEW, and comes after reports suggesting that Black could be a free agent as soon as next month or sometime in March. Julia Hart, another House of Black member, recently hinted that Black may be gone, as she told Instinct Culture that anything could be happening with Black's status in the company. Black joined AEW in 2021 and hasn't competed for the promotion since November's Full Gear show, and recently resurfaced on the indie scene. With Black's wife Zelina Vega being in WWE, fans can't count out a return for the Dutchman if his AEW run is indeed up, and we'll have to see how his absence is addressed on AEW TV. Do you think Malakai Black has finished in AEW, and if so, is a return to WWE in the future of the former NXT champion? Share your thoughts down in the comments section. Since his release from WWE in 2023, Matt Riddle has made his presence felt in a number of companies, and now the original Bro has locked into a contract with Major League Wrestling. According to Lucha Libre Online, Riddle inked the deal with MLW in late 2024, and the contract includes a commitment to MLW's partnership with CMLL. This means Riddle will no longer compete for CMLL's main rival AAA, though this does not necessarily mean fans should be expecting the ex-superstar in CMLL either. Riddle's MLW run is already off to a strong start as he captured the MLW World Championship at Kings of Coliseum in Dallas with a win over wrestling legend Satoshi Kojima. This move has made Riddle the clear face of the company, and MLW clearly has a lot of trust in Riddle to carry the MLW brand going forward. Now, Booker T is a true legend of the ring with a wrestling tenure that earned him 2 WWE Hall of Fame rings, and this past week, the NXT commentator made a huge return to the ring. At an event for his Reality of Wrestling promotion, Booker competed in his first singles match since 2019, where he got a hard-fought win over Zilla Fatu. Booker's previous match for ROW came in January 2019, where he defeated Rex Andrews, while his most recent match for WWE was part of the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble match. It's certainly notable that Booker beat Fatu, as the young upstart has got a lot of attention, with many believing it's just a matter of time before the son of Umaga is part of WWE. Fatu was spotted in the crowd at SummerSlam 2024 but did not get involved beyond being a spectator, and last October, Booker shared that he's pulling for Zilla to land in WWE. Whether Fatu does indeed join his kin in the bloodline on WWE TV, only time will tell, but his match with Booker certainly shows the Hall of Famer's faith in the young prospect. At NXT New Year's Evil, Eddie Thorpe was ambushed backstage by Obafemi, and even though he was able to make it into the NXT title triple threat match, he didn't win the title. Instead, it was Femi who left last week's show as the brand new NXT champion, but now Thorpe will get another opportunity at the Silver Brand's richest prize. At the January 11th NXT live event in Jacksonville, Florida, a battle royal took place to determine who will challenge Femi for the gold, and it was Thorpe who got the win. It is not known when Thorpe will challenge for the title, but fans are excited to see him get a one-on-one title shot, and his win wasn't the only major win at the live event. The show also saw a battle royal between the women, with Lola Vice securing a huge win, earning herself a shot at the NXT Women's Championship, now held by Julia. A lot has changed in NXT over the past week, and now Thorpe has the opportunity of a lifetime, even though Obafemi won't hold back in their title match. We've got an unfortunate update from CJ Perry, aka Lana, who has been recovering after she recently underwent an important medical procedure. On social media, Perry shared a video of a nurse taking her blood and said that because of the procedure, she's currently unable to leave Los Angeles. Perry has been volunteering to help those affected by the recent wildfires and shared that she and others have been given instructions that will hopefully help prevent the fire from spreading. Perry ended her caption by asking fans to pray for her procedure and the safety of herself and her dogs, and our thoughts are with the former WWE and AEW star at this worrying time. More from MLW is Bobby Fish certainly surprised fans at the recent taping in North Richland Hills, Texas, as he looked considerably different to what fans are used to. Fish, who's 48, debuted a gray beard, ditching the dyed look he'd sported during his WWE run of 2017 to 2021 and his later run with AEW. The veteran is clearly embracing his age and this next chapter of his career, and while he looks older than what fans are used to, Fish continues to prove he's just as good in the ring. Back to AEW Collision, as Brody King made his in-ring return to the show after 2 months away and squashed indie talent Trevor Blackwell in 88 seconds. King's previous match on Collision had been back in November 7th, while his previous match for AEW had been against Will Ospreay last month in the Continental Classic. Even with some time off, King showed he's not to be messed with, and this was the latest singles outing for him, as he also competed against David Finlay at Wrestle Dynasty. With questions about Malakai Black still circulating, King's own future on AEW TV also remains unclear, but this tattooed behemoth is certainly impressing without Black by his side. But what do you think of King's dominant win? Where do you see him, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart going if Black is indeed done with AEW? Let us know down below. And we're ending with Hulk Hogan, who was on last week's Raw to speak about Netflix and promote his Real American beer, but the beers weren't the only things that were frosty. Hogan was resoundingly booed by the fans inside the Intuit Dome, spawning a discussion about Hogan's legacy and what WWE should do with him moving forward. On his one-of-a-kind podcast, Rob Van Dam argued that the response shouldn't be seen as big news, as he simply sees it as a wrestler was booed at a wrestling event. He added, "They light him up, they let him cool down, light him up, lights himself up, he cools down, he goes through cycles, always seems to dig himself back out mostly, and then bury himself again. This one I'm trying to figure out why is everybody so into this moment that Hulk Hogan got booed." RVD added that Hogan's been booed before, but this was an authentic boo, as fans weren't booing the character, but made clear that they did not want to see the Hall of Famer. Despite the backlash, Hogan's beer will remain an in-ring sponsor of WWE events, though WWE have reportedly been considering ways to promote it without the Hulkster being around. Of course, fans are free to cheer and boo who they wish and made their choice clear at last week's Raw, and we'll have to see if WWE and Hogan can find a way to win over fans.